Joseph, in the Lex column this morning, we suggested that Mario Draghi might be thinking about some quantitative easing at the European Central Bank, and today he's just done just that. So tell us, what's he announced?
Yeah, I'm feeling quite vindicated because we said you should buy asset-backed securities, and in particular securities backed by small business loans, because that is the best way to get banks basically to make more of those ABS and therefore find more of those loans to package in the first place. It's really like a signalling effect. It's not just about the size of asset purchases, it's kind of what you're buying. And so yes, we are pleased about that. I mean, he also cut rates by about 10 basis points. That has an effect on banks' funding costs, so that's not to be underrated either, but it's really the ABS thing which should be focused on.
And that will lead, as you say, to more, well, it should lead to perhaps more lending to SMEs. Do you think it will, or does it always transmit quite so directly?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because lots of people are disappointed today that the ECB didn't announce full-blown sovereign QE, that is buying sovereign bonds, but that would have been pushing on a string because yields are already low. If the ECB had gone out and bought loads of German bonds, well, those yields can't go out much lower. But if it's buying or says it will buy small business loans, and there aren't very many of those ABS out there at the moment, it's really looking towards like the future and looking at supply constraints at the moment, because at the moment it is uneconomic for banks to create those ABS, and it's very uneconomic in particular for other banks, insurers, other real money to actually buy those ABS.
Why is that? Why is it problematic for banks and insurers to hold these
regulation? Solvency II, for example, which are the capital rules for insurers, require huge amounts of capital to be assigned to securitization exposures, in particular for small business loans and other riskier types of ABS. And therefore, you just do not get a very good return on equity. You know, you actually get a lower ROE on buying SME ABS than you would do just lending to an SME outright, which obviously an insurer will never do. And so really, you have to do two things there. You have to provide another kind of buyer, and the ECB can take the risk of buying, you know, senior ABS, and you have to provide capital relief to banks in a way. You know, you have to like take some of this stuff off their balance sheet so that they have room for more loans in future. And that's what the ECB would be doing if it bought mezzanine tranches, which actually it said today. I mean, it said those would have to be guaranteed by governments or other institutions, but I think that's a big signal for the future. And last but definitely not least, it also said it would be buying residential mortgage-backed securities, which are a huge chunk of the securitization market. And the Italian and Spanish housing markets aren't exactly on fire at the moment. They're about 23% of the RMBS market. And so, again, this will have a big effect. It will have a structural effect, a long-term one. It not necessarily will be like a short-term pop, but it'll be very important to the banking sector.
Well, Mr. Draghi's obviously opened the door to QE. Well, it remains to be seen how far he'll have to open it further. Joseph, thanks very much.